Welcome to From Trolls to Trust, Persuade your online community like a pro. My name is Lindsay. I'll be your tour guide for today's session. But I want to acknowledge I made a mistake in the app. I uploaded the wrong thing. I have a million things going on, so hopefully you can forgive me. But I promise at the end, there's a QR code that you can just scan on your phone to download the slides. So don't worry about taking pictures or worrying about that stuff. I promise I'll get to it at the end. So before we get started, I want to let you know that we are, for the purposes of today's session, I am going to talk about my experience with the Jacksonville Humane Society and us doing free adoptions. You can call them waived adoptions, sponsored adoptions, but essentially free adoptions. And for the comments, I'm focusing on the Meta platforms, which if you're not familiar with Meta, it's Facebook and Instagram. I just chose that because that's kind of where people are like the nastiest and meanest, okay? Some other places, they have like a character limit, you know, and I don't, with what is Twitter X doing these days, I'm not sure. And TikTok is like a whole other genre of online communication. So people are the meanest on Facebook. I can verify, I can vouch for that. But, so interesting tidbit, I made this presentation after I saw Wicked in the theater. So again, another apology. Because like I was making this slide and I was like, oh my God, it's me, right? So that's just how I feel whenever I see these slides now. But I just wanted to answer the question, am I qualified to teach you this stuff? Like, why me? Why am I up here telling you this? So I have spent 10 years of my life in animal welfare. I went to my first ever Best Friends conference as a volunteer in 2013. The conference came to my city, Jacksonville, Florida. And the shelter that I was volunteering with was like, hey, we have an extra registration. Do you want to go to this? And I was like, heck yeah. So I took time off. I used my PTO. I went and I was like, this is amazing. I want to do this. So if you're a first timer to the conference, I'm so excited for you. Every time I see one of the ribbons, I'm like, is it your first time? Because I'm just so excited for you. So I've been here for 10 years. I actually used to be a middle school teacher. And if you can teach middle school, I feel like you can do anything in the world, right? Like I faced 12 and 13-year-olds. Like I chose to face them on a daily basis, and I love and adore them. So I can really do just about anything. But in 2015, I became the Jacksonville Humane Society's established paid keyboard warrior. When I started there, my title was development manager, which was like an all-encompassing word, but really what I focused on was our online presence and our online communication. And so I've been doing it for quite some time. My cats have gone viral on TikTok 3 times, so like that's pretty cool. I mean, like they're the real stars of the show. If you're a really good crowd, I'll tell you what to Google so you can find the videos, but just look at my cat stuff. The rest of it you can ignore. I've been known to consume way too much Diet Coke. I don't change my oil. I do it like once a year. And I troll in the comment section too much for my own good. I love being in the comments. I just can't help it. Yeah, it's not great. And if you still don't believe me, I don't know if you were in yesterday's like big session. There's like a tiny little warrior lady on stage who got like the Badass Award. It was my boss for 10 years. Okay, so I am Denise Deisler tested. I am Denise Deisler approved. I got Denise Deisler to take this photo with very little effort. I was just like, hey, pose for a photo. She was like, sure, no problems. So if you know anything, then you know. To be tested and approved, I feel like that makes me certified. And also, if this is terrible, then you can blame her, not me. So, who are we at the Jacksonville Humane Society? I always like to include this in a presentation because what happens sometimes when you go to these things is you get like overwhelmed or you think like, oh, I can't do that, but everything is scalable. So just to give you a little bit of background about us so you can kind of picture where we're coming from and then measure that to you. But we are a private nonprofit shelter. We take in about 8,500 animals annually. It's almost 60% of our city's annual intake. Jacksonville, we sit a little bit underneath the Florida-Georgia border on the Atlantic side. And the majority of our intake, almost all of it, is stray and lost pets, owner surrender. We do have a really huge pet help thriving program that's focused on keeping pets and people together. We do intake 7 days a week. We have a volunteer program, a foster program. We have a really cool program for veterans. We have a humane ed program, and we have a career development program focused on DEI and veterinary medicine. So if you have interest in any of those other things, flag down a JHS member. We'll be happy to answer your questions. But that's who we are. And we have more than 150,000 online followers. That's across all of our platforms. And so it's a lot of moderation that we do. So why are we here today? People have opinions. I don't know about you, all three of those things are true for me, okay? If you have ever worked with me, you know I am opinionated, I love to be heard, and I want to help, okay? I'm the youngest of 5 kids, okay? Like, I had to make my voice heard. I was like, I grew up thinking like everything in the world is competition. Like, you want the last slice of chocolate cake, like you gotta fight for it, make your case. So that's just my personality. Some of you are not like that. You're more like the online lurkers, but you want to help. Okay, you can relate on some level with the people in the comments because you have opinions. You may not want to be heard, you may not want to share them, but you want to help, okay? So everybody say it with me. Say, it's me. Well, you guys. That hurt a little bit, but I'll forgive you. All right. And so, are they really trolls? I asked ChatGPT to show me what a troll looked like. This is what my ChatGPT boyfriend told me, okay? An online troll is someone specifically, intentionally trying to mess with you. They don't care about dogs and cats. They get a kick out of irritating you, and they're in there on purpose. They will post things just to get under your skin. They make irrelevant comments. They start to stir up trouble. That's what a troll is, okay? Essentially, the people in our comments are not trolls, okay? A troll is someone who probably doesn't even live in your community, and you posted something about community cats, and they live across the world, and they're talking about birds. Okay, I love birds. Birds are great. Okay, don't get mad at me. But, you know, they're purposely trying to get under your skin. Most of the time, in my personal experience, that's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with everyday people who care about dogs and cats. Okay, they've seen things online. They've heard things online. They're nervous, they get scared. People believe what they see online. Like, they don't fact check, okay? We know that. And so it's our job to help them understand the industry. I don't know, it cracks me up sometimes because like people talk about soccer moms and like tiger moms and helicopter moms. Like, raise your hand if you had a wooden spoon mom. Like, yeah. Like, I'm gonna hit you with the wooden spoon. It was my mom. And she used to tell me all the time, like, you made this mess, you better clean it up. And I feel like that is kind of what our job and our role is in animal welfare. If you look at the history of our communication with the public, we spent a great deal of time telling them people are bad. People are gonna hurt animals, and the best thing the shelter can do is protect people from animals. So we spent time telling them, like, we need a 35 reference sheet before you can adopt this dog. We told people that. So like it's our job to now teach them, okay, we said that, maybe it wasn't right, we're doing this now. Do you want to get on board? So according to ChatGPT, this is what a person who loves dogs and cats look like. And then I said, what does it look like if they're an advocate of my shelter? And ChatGPT knew that I worked at the Jacksonville Humane Society, so I was a little scary. But this is what they look like. Okay, so you have to remember your ultimate goal. Is it just gonna drive yourself crazy? Is that what you wanna do? Do you want to win an argument? I try all the time. You're not gonna win an argument in the comments. Like, you can't stop me in my personal life because I'm gonna win, okay? But no, you're not gonna win an argument in the comments. What you really wanna focus on is community engagement. That's where the benefit lies for you, is if you can kind of think of the comment section as that's how I'm gonna engage with my community, and that's how I'm gonna turn this around. Not, do I need to defeat a troll? Not, do I need to prove to Sally Smith, who's saying things about fur babies in the corner, God bless you, Sally. Like, no, I don't need to get into a fight with her. Like, I really just want to engage with my community. Because your audience is way bigger than you think. Okay, you are replying to the original person who left the comment and the audience at large. This is just a snapshot. It's kind of tiny, I don't know if you can see. This is just one of our regular everyday posts on a meta platform at the Jacksonville Humane Society. 13 comments, not commenters, okay, 13 comments, so it could be the same person multiple times, it's us replying, but 14,000 views, okay? 14,000 views, and people read the comment section, so they're scrolling and they're looking and reading the comments. So there's way more people looking at your reply than just the original person, so you definitely need to keep that in mind. okay? Because this is me on my way to the comments, right? Like, say Denise, no, I'm just kidding. I love Denise. Remember, you're not just replying to one person, okay? The whole world literally is watching. You put something on the internet, it lives forever. It is always there. Somebody got a screenshot of it. You can try and delete it, but it's there. Okay, that's your digital footprint. And people are gonna remember how you make them feel. So this is your opportunity to make someone feel good about the interaction that they have with your brand. Your online presence matters so much. In today's day and age, 60% of customer to brand interactions are gonna happen online via a social media platform versus in person. And particularly if you are chronically online like I am and you're on TikTok, the brands that do the best on TikTok are the ones that are in the comment section. Like they'll even go, like a totally irrelevant video not related to them, they'll comment on it. People love it. They go crazy for it. They'll be like, PayPal, what are you doing here in the comments? And they love it. And that's how people have positive interactions with brands nowadays. And isn't that what we want? I want someone being like, Jacksonville Humane Society, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh, we're a welcoming, friendly brand. You should come on into our shelter and take home this dog, or 2 or 3, okay? And what does this mean if you're a social media manager? You have job security. ChatGPT can't do that. All right. Yeah, I regret that. That was a choice I made. I didn't really consider the impact of seeing that on the big screen. But when I'm talking to someone or when I'm training with a new employee, these are kind of like my blanket rules of order. I am eating popcorn. I feel like that's relevant to this. That was what I was going for when I took this picture. So I'm eating popcorn in the comments. But what you want to do is you always want to reply, but you want to use a greeting, okay? And this is just simple, like, human knowledge. If someone sends me an email and they're like, Lindsay, and they just start, I'm like, why are you barking at me? Okay, I can't gauge your inflection or your tone. And you send me an email, you're like, hey, Lindsay. I'm like, oh, hello. You know, and you're probably gonna ask me to do the same thing and I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna feel a little bit better about it because I feel like we're friends now. So you wanna reply and say hi and then use their name. You can tag them in it because then it's gonna give them the notification, but sometimes I'll even delete the last name. So like, for example, if my dad's commenting, I'll be like, hi, Steve, what are you doing here? But you know, hi, and then use their name. Always thank them. You don't have to do it off the bat. You can do it at the end of the comment. Always thank them. And it can be as simple as like, thank you for bringing this to our attention, or I'm so glad you brought this up. We really needed to hear your voice. Always thank them because that, again, to that person, you're gonna make them feel appreciated, but the outside community is like, oh, they don't shy away from commenting. They are interacting, they are answering, they are being transparent, and there's such value in that, okay? Be positive, stay on brand. If you don't have some type of brand messaging or something that you kind of stick to, that's what your go-to is, I would encourage you to look for something like that. At JHS, we always want people to feel welcome and like they belong with us, and our brand is all about joy, okay, positivity. So when I'm having interactions, I'm thinking of online, I'm thinking about all of those words that are gonna exude welcoming, belonging, and joy, because that's what I want people to feel when they read what JHS is saying online, because that's what I want them to feel when they walk in the front door. And snacks do. They really do make it better. You can see in the back I have like a bunch of empty Coke cans, like Diet Coke cans, like yeah. All right, we're gonna move on. So, rhetoric. I used to teach my kids this, and I will tell you what I told them. It is never, ever in your life gonna matter if you can pronounce these words right. I'm probably saying it wrong. I don't care. But the way that I learned to say this was ethos, pathos, and logos. This is the Greek strategy of persuasive techniques. How do you get someone to agree with you? How do you use the art of persuasion to endear someone to your brand so that they love you so much that they're knocking down your door begging to foster day-old baby kittens, okay? And also, if you're a Swiftie, this is an Aristotle thing, so you can really say that you know Aristotle. Okay, like that would have landed really big in my office, but yeah, so ethos, pathos, and logos. I imagine this in my head as hearts, hands, and minds, if that helps you. Our JHS mission statement has a sentence about engaging the hearts, hands, and minds of our community, so that's a really easy go-to for me. So I think hearts, hands, and minds when I think ethos, pathos, and logos. But you can use these techniques to answer things in the comments, and you can get people on your side. Like I said, you're not trying to win an argument, but you can remember you're commenting to win all of their favor. So ethos, this is getting the audience to trust your credentials, relying on expertise, experts in your field. I think of this easiest, this is the hands, right? So you want people to know, like, okay, I'm the one handling the animals, and we are the ones who are seeing this every day, so you can trust us because of that. I always think of the dentist commercials, toothpaste. Dentists, 9 out of 10 dentists brush their teeth with Colgate. Well, if it's good enough for the dentist, who is like the doctor of teeth, to know which toothpaste is the best, then that's good enough for me, right? That's compelling. That's gonna persuade me to buy that toothpaste. So ethos. Okay, I know this is tiny. I'll give you the shortened version. Basically, Andrea, she commented on a post about us doing waived fee adoptions, and she basically, this must have been a holiday time, because she says, I hope these adopted babies are not unwanted after Christmas once they grow up and the newness wears off. Kids should learn how to take care of them. Adopting a dog is a commitment, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, cool, I got you, Andrea. Our reply is, hey, Andrea, we so appreciate your concern. The open adoptions model we practice focuses on building relationships with our community. We place trust in them. Events like this help us connect pets and people. And if you want to learn more about it, here's a resource from the Humane Society of the United States. It's the Adopter's Welcome Manual, which is great. You should check it out. I think there's like a new updated version, but some of these snips were a little old. So do I think Andrea is going to like crack open Adopter's Welcome and pour herself like a glass of Chardonnay, have an amazing night? No. Okay. But Andrea sees that I'm like, hi, we didn't just make this up. We're not just doing this for the fun of it. Like the Humane Society of the United States, big global guys, okay? They recommended this to us and we're gonna give it a try. So it's relying on that expertise and the backup of a professional to persuade someone, because maybe they don't think the Jacksonville Humane Society is an expert, but they might think that about someone else. Okay, so ethos is kind of that skill. Like I said, it's the dentist. If it's good enough for a dentist's teeth, then okay, works for me. Pathos, this is, I think, in animal welfare, the one we're the most familiar with, getting your audience to feel. It is the heart of hearts, hands, and minds. It's being motivated by emotion. It's tugging at your heartstrings. Okay, I will not sing the Sarah McLachlan song to you, but that is what we all think of. My pathos example is a diaper commercial of all things, which is weird because I don't really love babies, okay? I don't have kids, kind of freak me out. Babies, they're fragile, what do you do? I don't know, I don't wanna change a diaper. But in the early 2000s, Pampers had this commercial, and it was just like a woman singing Silent Night, and there's like images of babies. And I don't even think they showed a diaper in the whole commercial. But I'm on my couch crying because it's so beautiful and moving. And so if I did have a baby, I would be like, I gotta get the Pampers because of the Silent Night. Like it motivated me, who is a person who has no need to buy diapers, to remember that ad. So pathos, people remember how you make them feel. So here is an example of us using pathos as a reply. Diane, she's coming at us a little hot, right? She's like, well, do you vet adopters? This is how she sounds in my head. Do you vet adopters so you know they're going to good homes? Yes, I vet them. I spay and neuter them too. So we're gonna say, hi, Diane. I feel like we should have thrown a smiley face after that, but like, hi, Diane. We don't do background checks. We don't vet adopters. We offer free adoptions. We practice open adoptions to help connect people with pets who love them. We offer a focus on building relationships and trust. We always encourage folks to reach out to us. If they're having trouble caring for their pet, we're here to help. We are happy to answer any questions you may have. So this is us using a lot of strategic words, okay? We're connecting people, pets, love, relationships, community, encouragement. We didn't even say adopters, we're encouraging folks, okay? So we want to talk to Diane in a way that makes her feel good and happy and positive, so that she feels like she can trust us, because she's like, okay. Because probably she just is like super nervous, right? She read online, or she grew up in the time where they were like, you have to vet adopters, it's what you have to do to know that they're going to go home. Like, that's all she knows. It's okay. We'll talk to you, Diane, we'll calm you down. And then if you look, the cool thing about this is that someone else, Vivian, was like, did you ever get a response? Diane's like, no. And then she realized we did respond to her. She was like, oh, yes, okay? So people check. Vivian was up in the comments trying to see, did we ever reply? Okay, yeah, Viv, we did. Okay, so that's why it's important, because like I said, other people are watching. And logos. To me, this is my favorite go-to, but you have to be careful, okay? This is getting your audience to think. So getting people to think, oh God, right? It sounds scary. It's using reasoning, it's using facts, it's using statistics, but facts and statistics are great when you're talking to the right crowd. To me, these are always like the public service announcements, because like what they're gonna do in a public service announcement is like 3 out of every 4, 97%, things like that. Reasoning is a really good tool because you can just meet people on their level and have conversations with them about things. So for example, Susan, and I don't know if you can see, she's got a little dog in her profile picture, so I know she cares about animals. And Susan's like, please make sure these adopted pets are going to good people who will love them and won't take them home and hurt them or kill them. All right. Free adoptions means dog fighting and worse. And then she says, I know shelters are crowded and the need is there to reduce the number of animals in your care, but just be extra cautious. Okay, a couple things that I can tell just by reading this is that Susan, she wants to be on our side. She doesn't want to be a person that hates the shelter. She's not a troll, okay? She's not sitting online like this. Like, she's like, I know that you guys are full, but like, this worries me. That's what I hear her saying, okay? Which I can relate to. When I first started working in animal welfare, I was like, what you mean free? Right, like really? And then I watched it happen and I was like, oh, like this is great. And then I was like, can I get a discount? Like this is great, you know? So I get where Susan is coming from. And so what we replied was, hi, Susan. Thank you for voicing your concern. We hear you, okay? We're assuring her, like, we hear you, Susan. We get it. We're here to talk to you. At JHS, we believe in the goodness of our community. We place trust in our adopters. All adopters are required to provide us with a valid ID, speak with an adoption counselor. Our team follows up with them. If they need support, thanks, okay? That is, I think, the best tool you can get when you're trying to talk to the community about free adoptions is that logic reasoning. Just because the price changes doesn't mean the procedure doesn't. They hear free waived sponsors and they think that we throw everything out the window and someone walks in and I'm like, here you go, okay? Like, you know, bully breed dog coming at you. Like, have fun with that. You know, weighs 80 pounds. No, that's not what's happening. It's the exact same procedure. When you go to the grocery store and something is buy one, get one free, you don't get to buy one and then go steal the other one off the shelf. You go to the register and you ring it up. Okay, that's the way, it's the same concept with us. So just telling people, that's like the best tool that I ever have is I'm like, it's okay, like just because the price changed doesn't mean the procedure does. People, they get that. So reasoning and logic really goes a long way. Because look, Susan came back. Thank you so very much for the care and concern you take making sure the animals will be safe and adopted to those who love them. Susan's in my corner. Next step donor, okay? So that's how you do that. And then what I love even more about this example is a bonus. This is from someone named Lori. She goes a little off the rails, but we're gonna stick with her. She says, you know, I've adopted several pets from JHS, and they've all been spayed and neutered. They have all their shots, clean bill of health. They're all microchipped. And I'm like, yeah, good points. You know, she says if a person were inclined, they could purchase a dog. It would be the exact same scenario. Once you purchase a dog, you can go do whatever you want. Well, she's like, same thing, right? Once purchased, you're pretty much free to do whatever you want. Our society views pets as property, as does the law. Okay, she's making a valid point there. You gotta hand it to her. She's using her rhetoric. Adopting at JHS events puts pets in loving, stable homes. Purchasing a pet or getting one from your neighbor's latest batch of kittens doesn't just ensure a good life for them. She gets a little, she's like, it seems like you're just being negative. But she says, hopefully you can see the love and effort these great educated folks have for all of their pets. So I think that, to me, says way more than anything that I'm ever really gonna say, because this is someone who has adopted from us coming to defend us. We didn't pay Lori. We didn't train Lori. Okay, that's not my mole in the comment section. It's not my fake profile, which I do have one, but it's not, okay? I told you guys I have a problem. This is someone who has legitimately adopted pets from us, who had a great positive experience coming to our defense, and we love to see it because people are way more likely to believe like a stranger on the internet than they are the big bad animal shelter. So just remember that the voice of your supporters is way louder than your own. Do we always reply? Yes, but, okay. You do need to reply. I am a big believer in replying. People, like we said, they are watching to see if you have replied. They want to see your reply. Even though you don't think they're there, they are there. Check the analytics on the back of your post and you will be amazed at the reach. You're like, oh, this only got like 15 likes, nobody saw it. No, thousands of people in your community still saw it, okay? And there's value in that. So yeah, we need to be replying because I want people to see that the Jacksonville Humane Society interacts with you, and it also kind of humanizes you in a way. It's like, oh, someone is actually reading this. It's not just like me being like, you guys are terrible, and it's like going out into the ethers, the internet, I don't know, the World Wide Web, I don't know, but whatever. It's not just living out there. There's a human behind the screen. So yes, 99% of the time you're gonna reply. And we even reply if we decide we need to take it offline. We'll take it offline when it's like someone has a personal problem with us. Like, for example, I adopted a dog from you guys. You said it was perfectly healthy, and 10 days after I got it, it started coughing. Okay, I get that. And you know, to us, that's super common in the sheltering world. And yes, I could sit there and reply and explain all this stuff, but like, it's really not gonna benefit that person or that dog for me to have that. So what we would do in that situation is say, hi, we're so happy you brought this to our attention. We really want to talk to you. Can you email us or call us at this number? Or like, can you reach out to us, send us a private message, and we're going to put you in touch with someone from our leadership team. We're just going to take it offline because I do actually I don't want to win that argument, but I do want to have that personal conversation with that person so that we can get them. I don't want them in the comments saying, well, I complained and they never got back to me. I want them to be like Lori, right? I want them to be like, even though this happened, I had a great result. And I want people to see that I'm saying like, yes, this is a thing, but I don't really view that. We don't super view that as like a great time to educate. If someone's having like a personal problem, and if they're telling you, I'm gonna call the news, I'm gonna call my lawyer, just, okay, send us a message. We'll handle it offline. Some things are just better handled offline. And I think it's also important to remember that you're not always right. I learned this from the great Denise Deisler. We're all human, right? We're all gonna make mistakes, and the best things you can do is own up and apologize, right? So if we do make a mistake, it is important to us that if something went wrong and it truly was our fault, that we do genuinely apologize to that person and that the public sees us doing that, because you are gonna win way more favor than trying to excuse it or trying to act like it didn't happen or just hoping that it goes away. So even with like every Google review, if someone leaves us a 1 star, then our expectation is that we're gonna comment back and be like, hey, we're really sorry we didn't meet your expectations. Can you send us an email and tell us more? Because people look at those online reviews, and I don't want them to see a 1 star and us just sitting on our hands about it. Like I said, we have the ability to do that. You may not, but that's just something that we do because people are always watching. What color is the duck? Real quick. Don't look at it, look at me. What color is the duck? Ah, you all said yellow. Good job, I'm so impressed. Way to go. Yeah, look, there's like 1,000 ducks up there and most of them are blue, okay? But your eyes went right to the yellow duck, okay? It's critics math. I cannot take credit for this. One of my previous principals taught me this when I was in his office crying about like one kid's mom not liking me. 1 insult plus 1,000 compliments does not equal 1 insult. Okay, but our brains are trained that way. That's just human nature, right? I am gonna focus on that negative thing. That I am gonna focus on that yellow duck, even though that yellow duck is sitting in a sea of 1,000 baby blue little duckies. My brain is gonna remember that one bad thing. So for every negative online comment that you get, try to remind yourself that there are thousands of people who probably had a positive interaction with you and didn't say something, okay? The Susans and the Loris and the Lindsays of the world, okay? All the other companies that I argue with, just kidding. If they're, their voices are very small. Thousands of people have had positive interactions with you. So if you let yourself get caught up and you do critics math every time a bad things happen, it's just going to consume you and it's not going to do any good. Yesterday, I went to a really good presentation, the Best Frenemies one. Those ladies did a phenomenal job. And she was talking about being up late at night, and I could see it. I was like, oh my God, it's me. And she's in bed looking at her phone. Someone's talking trash about my shelter. Like, I've been there, okay? And, especially when they come for like staff members, then it feels like really personal, and that's really hard. But you have to remember that critics math doesn't do any good. And I'm not the best at math, but I feel like this is the worst of it all, okay? So don't let it consume you. When should the comments stop us from life-saving? Never. Thank you. Yes, never. We have a program at the Jacksonville Humane Society called Florida Leaders in Life-Saving, and it offers as a service, anybody else from Florida out there? Any? Yes, let's connect. It offers barrier-free training, completely free to shelters. We do all kinds of topics, all the way up to stuff like this, to operations, board recruitment, leadership stuff. We offer it free, and the funniest thing is every time someone comes to us at the Jacksonville Humane Society, they always say the same thing. My community is different. My community wouldn't support this. My community wouldn't do this. I'm like, well, it's Florida, okay? We are a unique breed, but we are a breed, okay? I probably know your community. It's Florida, man. I don't really know what to say about that, but we're not all that different. And if you let worry about what people are gonna say online stop you from doing the right thing for the animals, that's not your mission. That's not what you're there to do. Don't do critics math, okay? Don't let the one compliment or the one comment get lost. You could do 1,000 adoptions. If you have 100 returns, that's still 900 adoptions, right? Yeah, you still got that many animals out of the shelter. It's still great, okay? So the limit does not exist. Please don't let the comments stop you from doing things. I know that it's scary. I know that advocates get together and they come for you in ways that aren't great, but if you know that this is what's gonna be best for your shelters and the animals and for your community at large, then be the expert in the field and do what you know is best. Don't let the comments stop you. So, what did we learn? Okay, we listen and we don't judge. Very good. Most people really just want to help. They really do. And that's your goal, right? Is to get them from a person who just wants to help to a person sitting on their couch, okay, in your merch, sending you donations, adopting all their animals. And you know what I think is super fun about this? I don't know if you noticed, I don't want to go all the way back to that slide, but all of the dogs and cats in the advocate one, they all had collars and tags on versus the person who just loves dogs and cats, and I thought that was kind of scary, ChatGPT, but okay. Okay, replying, it really does make a difference. Ethos, pathos, and logos work, okay, they do, and the critics are not your boss. By a show of hands, is anybody more persuaded to reply in the comments? Do you feel more confident about it than you did leaving? Yes? Okay. The reason why is because I am a master manipulator, and at the beginning of this presentation, oh, I lied. I am going to go all the way back and relive that popcorn moment. Yeah, at the beginning, I fooled you guys, and I told you, why am I qualified? And I use logos, ethos, and pathos to trick you, okay? No, to help you. I gave you my professional background. I tried to make you laugh with me about some funny things so that you could relate to me on a personal level, okay, about drinking way too much Diet Coke and not changing your oil. And I gave you the expert verification of all experts, okay? So logos, ethos, and pathos, they work. You've all been tricked. So the last thing I want to leave you with is you can do this. Honestly, I want you to leave here feeling empowered. I was just a middle school teacher. I don't want to say I love teachers, but I was a middle school teacher, and I'll leave feeling like this, please. Like Elphaba, you're having your moment. Don't let the commenters bring you down. You have the ability to do this, and just because people are saying mean, nasty things to you online doesn't mean that they're not inherently good people who can be on your side. And now you have the tools to change their mind and persuade them a little bit. And if you can't persuade like Sally or Lori or anybody else, all the other people that are watching you, you have the ability to persuade them too. This is my other boss, Lawrence. He looks like this. So if you liked today's conference, you can find him. He loves when strangers approach him. I hope he's not in the room. That would really be bad. But yeah, you can tell him you enjoyed today's presentation. But that is the QR code if you want to download the slides or take a picture of it. Like I said, I have opinions. I like to share them, but I really do enjoy helping folks. So if you ever have a question, you can reach out to me. That is my contact information. And we have time for Q&A. But I have been instructed, if you would like to ask a question, please make sure you get the orange box and speak into it. So we do have time for questions, so yes.
Hi, I love all this. When someone is a genuine troll, not just a misinformed person, are you opposed to deleting or blocking when the comments are just abusive or offensive?
Yeah, so usually what I'll do is I'll stalk people and the first thing I'm probably gonna do is click on their profile. If it's a bot or like, you know, they've got like 3 friends or their name is like Rick America or like something, yeah. And you can tell that they're a troll and yeah. I'm not opposed to deleting and blocking. If they come in a profanity, that's a hard no. We have filters on ours, and if you come at us with profanity, that's not a starter, it's a non-starter for us. So yeah, there are definitely times when you delete and block. But like I said, critics math, they're very few and far between. Probably we get them on the free adoption post. And you know what's interesting? Like I said, I've been doing this for about 10 years. On our personal posts that go out to our supporters, we don't really get those comments anymore. If we pay advertising to throw that out in the community, that's where people who are not super familiar with us, that's where the majority of that comes on, those boosted posts. So yeah, if they're a community member, yes. If it's some rando bot from across the world, like community cats, whatever, like, okay, yeah, it's valid. Yeah, any other questions?
How would you handle someone in the comments of an adoption post selling animals, trying to like advertise animals for sale? I've run into that a surprising amount of times, actually.
Hashtag rude. It would depend. I might check and see if that's like a person in my community. Is this genuinely a community member? It might be worth having like a discussion with them about like spay and neuter or things like that. We get that sometimes, but it's genuinely bots. But we do sometimes have people and they're in the comments and they're like, I'm looking to rehome my dog. I'll leave that there. A dog that gets rehomed, like it doesn't come into the shelter system and that's a win. You know, so we'll leave that there, yeah, if it's that.
Thanks.
We got one up here. We have time for both.
Okay, go. Okay, so this is my question, and it was something that just recently happened at our shelter. There was a dog that was an aggressive dog that bit a child, and our shelter had negative comments for not taking that dog in, but we have a standing policy of not taking in any aggressive dogs. Do we respond?
It would depend on a couple factors. I think what we would do in that situation is we would get together as a leadership team and probably craft a response. If the noise is coming, if it's not directly on our page, if it's happening in like private community groups that we're not in and they're not tagging us, it's a different conversation a little bit. And we might look to have private conversations with those individuals, but that's really tricky, especially with kids involved. So we would likely get together with leadership if we needed to make a statement, and we would come up with something that was, you know, our statement to the public that we all felt comfortable with and represented our org well. So It would just probably depend on where it was posted online.
No, my question doesn't really have to do with this. It has to do with one of your other programs. Should I wait till after?
Okay, sure. Does anybody have any other questions about yeah, let's do questions about the presentation and we can connect after, no problem.
Yeah, so we have had, it's not super common, but it has happened before on posts, specifically like adoption posts, return to owner posts, where someone is specifically coming after the person that is adopting the animal or being returned the animal. And how do you navigate the response to that when it's on your organization's post, but it's coming after a adopter or someone that's utilizing your organization and not actually coming after your organization in and of itself?
So they're coming after the person that's adopting the
Yes,
pet?
right,
Like,
you
by
know,
name?
for,
How do they know?
right, like just, you know, younger people, if they see that, or if they see an older person adopting a puppy, or, you know, just
I
things
gotcha.
like that.
Yeah. So my gut instinct is like instantly defend the adopter,
Yeah.
right? And I kind of feel like my gut instinct is correct, but I want to voice it in a way that is still on brand and welcoming. So what I might say to that is, thank you so much. We're really glad that you're concerned about adoptions, and we would love to talk to you. You can invite people in. A lot of times that works well. You could say, I would love to talk to you about our adoption process. You want to come by any day. We're open 7 days a week. We would love for you to come in, meet the families, that type of a thing. And it's, you know, it's sad because we will see it, and you will see it's on like stereotypical things too. There might be two different types of families adopting puppies, and one is going to get, you know, more comments about like, oh, make sure that, you know it's a responsible thing. But we are big believers in sharing pictures. We ask folks if they're okay with us sharing pictures on social media, but we're really big believers in not using stock images because we want the community to see themselves represented. So we want them to feel like they belong, because they do, right? They belong with us. So I probably in that situation would again thank them for voicing their concern and being like, we practice open adoptions because we believe in conversations and connecting with our community. Why don't you come by? We'd love to connect with you too. Because then everyone who's seeing something and not seeing it sees, oh, okay, well, they didn't just leave it alone. They're acknowledging it and they're inviting them to come in. Is that person gonna come in? In my experience, no, they don't come. They usually don't take you up on your offer to come in and have conversations. But if they do, then that's a win, because then they're in your door, and that's what better chance to showcase your life-saving, mission.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. Was there a question? Yeah.
If the trolls are not on your social media, but like say they're on a Reddit page and they're complaining because maybe there was a dog they were really wanted, but someone else got to adopt the dog, do you respond to those posts? Do you make an official account on Reddit and like respond to the comments, or do you just let them do their thing over there?
Reddit.
Cesspool.
Yeah. It's like a breeding ground for good old trolls. Just kidding. If you're on Reddit, I love you. Please make a donation. No. Reddit is interesting. We don't have an account on Reddit. Oddly, we do use it. We have a staff member who is really savvy about it, and she will post on there when we're doing like certain promotions, because it is a way for us to connect with our community. But if they're not directly commenting with you and you come and you comment, like it might just draw more, like they're not tagging you, they don't want you to see, and the community I think the community is also savvy enough to know that like, why would I know if Joe Schmo is talking about me on Reddit? He didn't tag me, he didn't want me to see it. I don't think I would engage from a brand standpoint. You're probably just inviting more. If they came to me they came to us and said something, yes. But if it's like out in the atmosphere and they're purposefully not connecting with you, I don't know that I would waste time and energy, put that time and energy into connecting the people that are coming to you directly. Yeah. We have about 5 more minutes. I talked really fast. Do we have some more?
Okay, so most of our posts on Facebook are going to be in the evening after working hours. Mm-hmm. Which means I get comments at dinner time, when I'm trying to like binge my shows. Mm-hmm. How do you take care of yourself? Because I know, like, first instinct is, oh, I saw this really crummy comment. I have to respond right now. How do you do that?
Yeah. Why are you doing it? Have you recently ran your analytics, or is that something that's just always been?
So I just use Meta Business Suite, and it says
Right.
7 o'clock
That's
every
what it's
day.
saying.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because like we're attached to those little rectangles that live in our pockets, right? And it's like, and I did, honestly, I burned myself out. I won't lie to you. Like always being like, because I wanted, I'm like crazy competitive. I was like, JHS is the best. We reply so fast, you know, which, who was watching that? Me. So yeah, I think just make parameters that are, you know, if you feel the need to check it when you get home, if you can say, okay, I'm gonna give myself 15 minutes, what I would do, I would set a timer and I'd be like, okay, for 15 minutes, I'm gonna look at this stuff and reply, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. Because you have to take care of yourself, you can't let it follow you home, especially if it's like a bad, nasty comment. And honestly, like sometimes you get heated in the moment. Like I know myself, I'll be like, oh really, Diane? You know? Like, okay, maybe I should sleep on this. Diane's not going anywhere. And also, it's kind of frustrating that people have that expectation of like instantaneous, right? My Wi-Fi has like not really been working in this set, and I am like, oh, I'm chronically online. What do you mean I don't have Wi-Fi? Oh my God. Like, but really it's fine. You know, I just had to talk to people face to face. But yeah, I would just set a timer if you feel like you have to do it, set a timer at home and then enjoy the rest of your night. You work hard, take the day off. Yeah, right next to you.
I have two, I think, quick questions. One, if you do determine that it's a bot, do you leave the comment or do you delete the comment? And then also, not related, but if you have folks who are doing a lot of positive commenting, like the adopter who sort of said, do you also try and engage and respond to those as well with a similar, pattern of response?
Yes. If you know for sure it's a bot, delete, block. You don't let them get. We got hacked one time, and that was trying to unpack. Whoever lived in Russia that was trying to sell sweatshirts under my, like it was so hard to unpack. So yeah, if we can determine that it is spam, delete and block. And absolutely that is so good. Reply back to positive comments. We have a supporter, her name is Lael Braddock, and she leaves a Snoopy GIF on everything we do, and I love her for it. I'm telling you, if I don't see that Snoopy, I'm like, are you okay? Wellness check. But yeah, and that's your opportunity to be super fun, right? Like, so we love to like reply back with like a fun, sassy comment, or like even a GIF, or like something that's gonna make people smile, something that's gonna make people laugh. Because remember, 60% of people are having that online interaction with you before they ever set foot in your doors. So yeah, I want them to have a super positive interaction with me. I would reply back to positive stuff. Even just thanking people. Gratitude is like one of our most powerful tools. So even if someone's like, oh, you guys are amazing, like, thank you, you're amazing. Like, just make people feel good. Yeah. All right, one last question.
I'm afraid to throw this thing.
You talked a lot about like replying to individual people, but in our area, a lot of the animosity and the negative comments comes from other rescues or other shelters. I don't know if that's a thing in your area, but how do you handle that?
No, yeah, that's super specific to you. Nobody in the room can relate. Yeah, so that's a tricky one, right? So because we do want the public to see us replying to that as well. Once again, it might be a situation where we talk to leadership. So, hello, Denise. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. But yeah, it would depend on, I think, the rescue. I would treat them all as individual situations. If the rescue is like outwardly commenting, and we get it, trust me, we get it, because they won't come, they won't say it to us, but they will say it on their own page. And a lot of times it's for fundraising purposes, which is like a little like throwing the shelter under the bus so that the rescue can raise money, which is not a great fundraising strategy. It does not last. So it just depends on, I think, how nasty it is. If you feel the need to like correct them, if they're outwardly lying about your organization and they're blatantly saying terrible things, like I think I would approach them and ask them to have a conversation. We would probably get in the comments and say like, hi, we would love to talk to you about this. Do you want to set up a time to talk, and go from there? So that way their supporters and your supporters see that you've acknowledged it, you've referenced it, but you're going to take it offline. So, all right. That's my time. So thank you guys.